Have you ever just kind of stopped and thought about the power stories have in your life? I mean, not just the big history ones, but the really personal ones. The
Mm.
stories we hear growing up, the family stuff we inherit, the ones we, tell ourselves about ourselves, and maybe most importantly, those stories we just leave unfinished.
That's such a potent idea. There really is this undeniable weight to an unfinished story, isn't there? Both like literally in a book, but also metaphorically in our lives.
Yeah,
It suggests things left hanging, questions, emotions, decisions maybe not quite made, paths not taken.
exactly. What we don't finish, those gaps.
Mm.
Sometimes they echo even louder than the things we actually wrap
All
up.
right. It taps into that basic human need for closure, for understanding.
Welcome to the Plain Books Podcast.
Yeah.
This is where we dive deep into really compelling books and sources to pull out those powerful insights, maybe some surprising connections.
And today we are definitely doing that. We're getting into a truly rich, layered, and honestly pretty emotionally intense source. The novel The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros.
Yeah, this isn't just a book you read. It feels more like something you experience. It really invites you to look at your own stories.
Definitely. Our mission today really is to unpack this intricate narrative. Rebecca Yarros does this amazing job weaving together two different timelines.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking generations apart, different continents, connecting characters through these huge themes: love, loss, legacy, and also the power you find in, well, both writing your own story and having the courage to live your own truth.
It's such a compelling look at how our personal stories define us, but also how we can maybe redefine them.
Exactly. And you'll find as you get into it, this isn't just about, writing a novel. It's deeper. It gets into the fabric of identity itself
Right.
and the sheer guts it takes sometimes to write your own happy ending, even when life just keeps throwing these like massive plot twists at you, unexpected, sometimes devastating ones.
Yeah, we're really going to dig into how these characters wrestle with their pasts, how they challenge these assumptions they've always had about themselves, their families.
And how they ultimately find their own ways, often really surprising ways, to find completion.
It's a journey that shows that sometimes the most important chapters, the really life-changing ones, are the ones we have to find the bravery to write ourselves.
And as you'll remember from the book, those are often the hardest ones to even start writing.
So true. They often demand the most, bravery, self-compassion too.
Yeah, the novel shows that brilliantly. It makes you ask, doesn't it? How much of our life right now is actually ours, and how much is just an echo of somebody else's unfinished story from way back when?
Okay, so that really fascinating idea setup, let's dive in.
Mm.
We'll start in the present day with Georgia Stanton. She's a character who, right from the start, kind of embodies that weight of an unraveling legacy.
Mm-hmm.
We meet her as she's going back to Poplar Grove, Colorado. It's this small, tight-knit town. Should be comforting, maybe, but it feels like anything but initially.
Right. She's dealing with the fallout from a very public, very messy divorce from this big shot movie director, Damien Ellsworth.
And the tabloids have already jumped on her, haven't they?
Yeah.
Calling her the Ice Queen because she's so guarded, so frozen almost in public.
Yeah.
When you first read that Ice Queen label, what did you think? Did it feel accurate to her inside or more like the author setting us up?
Oh, I immediately thought it was just this perfectly brutal shorthand for someone who's deeply hurt and just completely armored up defensively.
Right.
The label, like the source material points out, isn't just the tabloids being cruel. It actually comes from her shutting down when cameras were in her face.
Yeah.
Right? A desperate way to just preserve whatever was left of her dignity.
Oh, okay.
So it instantly tells you about her emotional state. She's not just sad about the divorce. She's been like publicly torn down, humiliated. She's operating from this place of extreme vulnerability and needing total self-protection. The book says she needs to recharge until she was whole again. That suggests something deeper than just a breakup. It's like a hit to her core self-worth, her ability to trust anyone.
So it's more than just a nasty nickname. This Ice Queen thing becomes this, symbol for how we build walls against pain, both public and private.
Mm-hmm.
What does the novel show us about how deceptive those walls can be? How the coldest people might be hiding the biggest struggles?
Well, it shows that those defenses, yeah, they protect you initially, but then they can trap you too.
Right.
The book does a great job peeling back those icy layers. Underneath, you find this woman who's actually really compassionate, super smart, incredibly creative, all these parts of her that her marriage had kind of dulled.
Mm-hmm.
The Ice Queen outside, that's a direct result of the trauma. It's a coping mechanism. But the story suggests those walls don't just keep others out. They keep her locked in, stopping her from healing, from connecting.
Ah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
It's that gap between how people see us and who we really are inside, vulnerability and all.
Exactly. It sets up her whole journey, really, dismantling that armor, not just for other people, but for herself.
And it totally sets the stage for her going home, which, like you said, should be a comfort, but even that's complicated. Her gran, Scarlett Stanton, or, who she thinks is Scarlett Stanton, has left her this inheritance.
Yeah, and it's way more than just a house or money.
Right. It's this quiet life, this beloved bookstore called Side Table, and then the shocker. George is now a silent partner in the store. Gran left her everything, basically. But George's first reaction, even with all this unexpected stuff, is just unease, deep unease. She feels like the past few months just suck out her compassion, strength, and even hope.
It's ironic, isn't it? In a book about legacies, the legacy itself feels like another huge weight.
It absolutely feels like an emotional crisis wrapped up as a homecoming. The writing paints her as just utterly drained.
Yeah.
There's even that little detail about the for sale sign on the pet store next door suggests maybe Poplar Grove itself is struggling a bit, mirroring how Georgia feels inside.
Oh, interesting parallel. Yeah, she's grappling with the sheer size of Gran's legacy. Feels too big for her right now, plus running a business, being back in this town she left, and trying to avoid her mom, Ava, who's emotionally distant.
Right.
It's definitely not the peaceful break she needed. It's like a whole new set of pressures she feels totally unprepared for.
And speaking of pressure and complications, her very first run-in back in town, almost right away, is with Noah Morelli, though she knows him by his pen name, Noah Harrison.
At the bookstore.
Right there inside table.
Yeah.
And it's over something so trivial, seemingly these two book covers that look almost identical.
It's interchangeable, the book says.
But the real fireworks, what really ignites their whole dynamic, is their immediate argument about romance novels themselves. Georgia, who's clearly absorbed Gran's wisdom and read tons of these books, passionately argues romance isn't about unrealistic expectations and sex. It's about love and overcoming adversity through what can be considered a universal experience.
And Noah, who writes these, painful, depressing fiction masquerading as love stories, he just fires back with something cynical like, and apparently satisfying sex.
Oof.
But that early argument, it's brilliant. It doesn't just set up their chemistry, which is, instant and crackling.
Totally.
It immediately throws down their fundamental differences. On storytelling, on life, on what love and happiness even mean. It's the idealist, even a wounded one still hoping for romance, versus the cynic, maybe equally wounded, who thinks love stories have to be gritty to be real.
Yeah, it tells you right away their relationship is going to be anything but smooth sailing. It sets up this amazing tension that's way more than just attraction.
Definitely sets the tone. And then, boom, we're thrown right into the middle of the inheritance drama. Georgia gets to Gran's house, expecting maybe peace and quiet. Nope.
Not a chance.
She walks into this awkward business deal already happening. Her mother, Ava, who significantly Gran cut out of the will,
All right, that's huge.
is trying to sell Gran's unfinished manuscript behind George's back. And why? What's driving her to do something so desperate?
It's just raw financial desperation, isn't it? Mixed with a lot of resentment, feeling like she got cheated.
Exactly. Ava, who the book describes as good at change plans on the fly and basically emotional unavailability.
Perfect description.
She sees Gran's book as her last chance. She pleads with Georgia, saying the money would help me get on my feet. She even lashes out, saying, my own grandmother cut me out of her will for you. You got everything, and I was left with nothing.
Wow. That's rough.
It instantly shows you this really messed up family dynamic, the neglect, the money problems all coming to a head now that Gran's gone.
Okay, so faced with that mess, her mom's manipulation, what does Georgia do? She steps up immediately, right? Demands final approval on the manuscript, which turns out to be super important.
Crucial detail.
And she calls Helen, Gran's agent, right away. This is especially key because Gran apparently had strong feelings against movie adaptations. That detail hangs over everything later, doesn't it?
Oh, massively.
So what is this quick move, taking control? Tell us about Georgia, even though she's feeling so broken.
It feels like the beginning of her reclaiming her own power, maybe without even realizing it. After years with Damien, where her own art got put on pause for him,
Right.
she's drawing a hard line here. She's protective of Gran's legacy, even if she doesn't get the full story yet. It's not just business for her. It's about integrity, respecting Gran's wishes, pushing back against being manipulated again.
And that aversion Gran had to movies.
Okay.
It's like this little warning bell, hinting that this manuscript holds way more complications, maybe even danger for Georgia down the line.
Definitely subtle foreshadowing.
And speaking of the future of this manuscript, we find out pretty quickly that Noah Harrison Morelli actually is deeply invested in this project. Like, personally.
Yeah, he canceled his entire life for it, the book says. Dropped research in Peru, stopped his own writing.
Why? What's his intense connection to Scarlett Stanton's work, the woman Georgia thinks is her great-grandmother? What makes this unfinished book so irresistible to him?
Well, Scarlett isn't just any author to him. She's one of his literary heroes. And get this, his own mother's favorite author, too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this isn't just a job. He calls it the dream of a lifetime. You get the sense he really respects her talent. He stalked her work for years. The fact that he dropped everything, it shows his drive, yeah, but also this deep reverence for her and maybe this gut feeling about this specific story.
What is it about the story itself?
He's drawn to where it ends, right at this crucial, agonizing point. Will it be total heartbreak? Or will they rally for a love conquers all climax?
Oh.
He senses the huge potential there, maybe even something personal he can't quite name yet.
And he's got to convince Georgia, right, who, as we know, hates his books and what they stand for.
Exactly. Which brings in his sister, Adrienne.
Ah, Adrienne. She gives him some pretty blunt but spot-on advice, doesn't she?
She really does. Adrienne lays out just how bad George's public humiliation was, how deep the pain from Damien's affair goes. She even compares Georgia to the haughty first wife in one of Noah's own books.
Ouch. The Winter Bride, right?
Yeah, and Adrienne points out that character died before the hero and heroine found their happy ending. Harsh, but it makes Noah see George's situation in a new light.
That's got to hit home.
Totally. And Adrienne's advice is so sharp, agree with her. And crucially, check your ego. This isn't about you. It's about her great-grandmother.
Oh, correct.
It forces Noah, who's usually pretty confident, maybe arrogant, to actually see George's pain, her trust issues. He realizes his usual charm or intellectual arguments won't cut it. He needs empathy. He has to approach her, respecting her pain, her boundaries, her connection to Gran. It's a huge shift for him.
Which leads right to Noah's big test. Georgia, still really wary of him, just asks him straight up, would you take your name off the book if you finish it?
Which is a massive ask for any writer, let alone someone like Noah finishing his idol's work.
Huge. So how does he handle that? Especially with Adrienne's raking my soul over a cheese grater advice ringing in his ears. How does he wrestle with the giving up credit on his dream project?
You can feel his internal struggle. The book shows him grappling it's the dream of a lifetime to have his name next to hers, but he instantly knows it's way more than that. The fact he even thinks about it, let alone eventually agrees, that shows a huge change. He's torn between his ego, his admiration for Scarlett, and this undeniable pull towards Georgia.
Right.
Adrienne's advice made him choose personal glory or something deeper. Agreeing, even reluctantly, shows he's starting to prioritize the story and George's healing over his own ambition. It's a real step toward connecting selflessly.
And that connection, it starts buzzing between them, doesn't it? Despite all the conflict, the harsh words, the professional tension, Noah feels this definite charge, this connection with Georgia, right from that first argument in the bookstore. What makes that attraction so strong, so compelling, when everything else around them is so messy and confrontational?
I think it's the friction itself, weirdly enough. Noah's clearly drawn to her smarts, her fire, her stubbornness. He sees her as an equal, someone who challenges him. The book mentions him finding her stunning, exquisite, really, her crystal sharp blue eyes, but it's more than just physical, it's intellectual, emotional too.
Yeah.
She pushes back, matches his wit, and underneath that icy surface, her vulnerability, even though she hides it so well, it's there and it intrigues him. He feels it with every fiber of his being, like it's destiny or something. Even if they're both too guarded to admit it yet, their banter, their shared pain underneath, it creates this magnetic pull, suggests something deep could happen between them.
Okay, so we've set the scene in the present. Let's rewind now. Back to the wartime story, where it all began. Scarlett, Jameson, and these threads of fate pulling them together. It's 1940, England, World War II raging. We meet Scarlett Stanton and her sister Constance in Middle Waller.
Right.
And Scarlett, we learn, has this very strict no pilots rule.
Hmm.
What's the heartbreaking reason behind that? Seems pretty obvious, but worth stating.
Oh, it's utterly heartbreaking and pragmatic. It's the incredibly high death rate for RAF pilots. Simple
Yeah.
as that. Scarlett knows the risks. She's seen it. Her rule is pure self-preservation, trying to shield her heart from almost certain pain. It's another kind of defense mechanism, right? Like George's Ice Queen thing, but born from war.
Makes total sense. And then there's Constance, her sister,
Hmm.
the conniving little matchmaker.
Ah, yes, Constance, vivacious, trying to break that rule almost immediately. She senses something even before Scarlett does.
And she definitely succeeds in breaking it. Because in walks Jameson Stanton, the American pilot. Their first meeting,
Mm-hmm.
the book describes it as electric.
Totally.
His moss green eyes, that low, rough voice, this confidence. He just starts dismantling Scarlett's defenses right away with his insistent nature. How does the author make that pull feel so immediate, so irresistible?
It's Jameson's sheer force of will, really, and he's completely unapologetic about pursuing her. He's not just good-looking, he's bold, charming, captivating.
Yeah.
He sees her guard, acknowledges the no pilots rule with a grin, and then just ignores it like it doesn't apply to him. His persistence, that smile, the way he looks at her, it just chips away at her walls. The book says he'd fly his Spitfire into the stratosphere just to get her attention. He's as daring with her as he is in the cockpit, a total contrast to her cautious world.
And he proves that boldness, that dedication with their first date, which is
Wow.
way beyond anything Scarlett expected.
Oh, absolutely.
He actually flies her in his plane to this private candlelit dinner somewhere secluded. And he brings a portable phonograph in wartime England.
Incredible gesture.
Scarlett thinks the sheer effort he'd gone to was incredible. What does that one act tell us about him, about their connection blossoming amidst all that chaos?
It tells us Jameson is completely extraordinary. He doesn't do things halfway. Think about it. Rationing, scarcity, danger everywhere. He flies the plane for a date, arranges a private dinner,
Right.
gets hold of a phonograph, which was super rare and expensive.
Yeah, amazing.
It shows incredible dedication, resourcefulness, and just pure romantic intent. It tells Scarlett and us that he sees her, values her deeply, and will move mountains for her. This isn't casual. It's immediate, deep, defying the terrible circumstances. He's all in, creating beauty in the middle of despair.
And in that incredibly romantic, vulnerable moment, Scarlett shares something really personal, a dream she has.
Mm-hmm.
I think one day I would like to be a novelist. What does that dream mean for her in that context, against the backdrop of war?
It's this beautiful little spark of hope, isn't it? An assertion of her own identity in a world focused on destruction and duty.
Yeah.
At a time when individual goals often get lost in the war effort, wanting to create, to tell stories, to leave something permanent, it's almost defiant. It's faith in a future beyond the war. It shows her inner life, her intelligence, her desire to contribute something lasting.
And it definitely foreshadows the legacy that ties her story to George's, way down the line. We also see her strength, her independent spirit, in how fiercely she pushes back against her family. They want her to marry Henry Wadsworth, who the book makes clear is a known abuser of women,
Ugh, yeah. Awful.
all to secure the family's social standing and land. How does Scarlett fight this? What does her refusal show about her character?
She flat out refuses, with total conviction. The book has her saying, "I will not marry that monster, I refuse."
Good for her.
It's a huge act of rebellion back then, not just against her parents, but against society's expectations. Refusing could mean social ruin, financial disaster for the family.
Right.
It shows she values her own agency, her morals, her self-respect above all that. She won't be sacrificed, even for the family land. It shows her inner strength, her clear moral compass. She even makes that pact with Constance, right? About not declining the peerage, standing together against the pressure.
Yeah, that sisterly bond is key, too.
And then her bond with Jameson deepens dramatically after that terrifying air raid. That brush with death, it changes things.
How so?
In the aftermath, he confesses his love. And there's this urgency, born from almost dying. He says, "I'm in love with you, Scarlett Wright. I've done everything I can to fight it, but this war isn't going to give us that time, and after last night, I'm not hiding it anymore."
Wow, that's a powerful moment. What does that proximity to death do to their love story?
It just accelerates everything, the fear, the fragility of life. It strips away all the hesitation, all the pretense. Jameson gets it. Time is precious, limited. No room for playing it safe with feelings.
Yeah.
His confession isn't just romantic, it's desperate. A recognition that every moment counts. It elevates their relationship instantly to deep commitment, raises the stakes incredibly high. It's love forged in war, making it intense, urgent, incredibly powerful.
And Scarlett's response. She makes this huge sacrifice, showing her commitment right back. She decides to move to North Wheel just to be with Jameson, gets a posting at his RAF base.
Yeah, she actively pursues it, even uses family connections, leaves her friends, her routine.
That early sacrifice definitely signals bigger ones to come for him and their future family.
Absolutely. Choosing to be near him, despite the danger of living on an active base, the disruption, it shows the depth of her love, her determination to grab whatever happiness they can find in the middle of the war. It sets this pattern, prioritizing their connection above her own comfort, even her own established life.
But the costs of war, the costs of love, they're always there. Scarlett soon finds herself facing an unexpected pregnancy, and it throws her into turmoil.
Big emotional struggle.
She worries, if I came clean, resigned her commission, what would she be then? She's terrified of losing the identity she'd found, becoming nothing. How does Jameson help her through that fear?
His reassurance is so simple, but so powerful. He just promises, totally sincerely, we'll figure it out together.
Yeah.
He doesn't brush off her fears. He gets why she's worried about losing her direction, her meaning and purpose after finding her place as a WAF. He acknowledges her fear of failing as a wife, as a mother, especially when so many women were losing husbands.
Yeah, the stakes were so high.
But he assures her they'll face it as a team. Her purpose will change, he says, but it won't disappear. It shows his unwavering support, his empathy for what she's going through, and their shared commitment, even with the war raging.
And then comes that really moving scene. Scarlett's WAF discharge. Her uniform, which meant so much identity, purpose, now feels like the physical manifestation of the woman she'd become, a woman being unmade.
So poignant.
And Jameson watches, but he doesn't step in. He knows it's something she had to do for herself by herself. Why doesn't he intervene? What does that show about his understanding of her?
He gets the depth of her sacrifice and how personal this transformation is for her. Taking off that uniform isn't just changing clothes, it's shedding the identity she fought for, the independence she found.
Right.
As much as he wants to make it easier, he knows she has to do this. Grieve that part of her life, accept the new path, the new identity as a mother. He feels his actions already cost her so much. He can't be part of this final, intimate act of letting go.
So his inactions, actually, respect.
Exactly. Respect for her autonomy, her process, her strength. He gives her the space to change on her own terms, even though it's painful for both of them.
And it's worth remembering Constance's own heartbreak around then, too. She's also making a huge sacrifice, agreeing to marry Edward, a loveless marriage, just to protect the family land after he dies. It really highlights that theme of sacrifice running through the whole story in different ways.
It's such a powerful parallel, isn't it? It shows the different, often painful choices women faced. Scarlett fights for passionate love, while Constance sacrifices for duty, for legacy.
Yeah.
Her unrequited love for Edward, then marrying to save the land. It reinforces how the book explores love in all its forms. The lightning strike, yes, but also the steady, warm, and gentle kind. And even the path of duty, the unchosen path. Constance also loses a part of herself for her family, showing sacrifice wasn't just on the battlefield, but in these quiet, heartbreaking choices at home.
Then comes William's birth, a moment of pure joy, right? A bit of light in the darkness.
A definite beacon of hope.
But it's short-lived. The news of Pearl Harbor hits, and suddenly Jameson's focus shifts to the Pacific. It creates this new, terrible rift between them.
Yeah, really agonizing conflict.
Scarlett confronts him, and her words are just so powerful, so raw. It's not just you anymore, Jameson. It's not even just us. You can be as reckless as you want when you're in the cockpit, but there's a little boy upstairs who doesn't know there's a war going on. What does that outburst show about how Scarlett has changed?
It's devastating. She's already given up so much for him, her career, her citizenship, her old self, and now she's drawing this absolute line.
Yeah.
Her words aren't just arguing, they're a desperate plea. Recognize our responsibility, acknowledge this new life, understand the real-world consequences of your choices. It highlights that awful tension between duty to country and duty to family.
She's not questioning his courage.
No, not at all. She's demanding he see their shared reality now, William's vulnerability. She's saying, your life isn't just yours anymore. It belongs to us.
And then inevitably, he has to leave. Jameson, in absolute agony, makes that gut-wrenching choice to send Scarlett and baby William to Colorado, to safety, even though it tears their new family apart.
The book says his face was drawn, etched with the grief that rivaled Scarlett's own. You feel the weight of that decision, sending them away out of love, not selfishness.
Absolutely. It's the ultimate proof of his love, isn't it? Putting their survival above his own desire to be with them.
Yeah, it's pragmatic, but agonizing. He knows the dangers in England, the bombing, the U-boats. He pictures them safe in the Rockies, hoping they can reunite after the war. He puts his own needs aside completely to protect them, knowing staying together could mean losing them forever. It's a hero's sacrifice, just a quiet, domestic one.
Which leads us tragically to the unfinished story part for Scarlett and Jameson. That horrifying scene. Pilots showing up at Scarlett's door back in England.
Ugh, yeah, delivering the news.
The news that Jameson's plane is missing. And that detail. 11 of them were here. Out of 12, it tells you everything without a word.
It's brutal. The stark truth hits before anyone speaks. Masterful writing, conveying so much grief with just a number.
And the missing part.
Yeah.
That lingering, torturous uncertainty.
So cruel. But then Howard, one of the pilots, delivers Jameson's last message. He said to tell you that he loves you.
Heartbreaking. The final goodbye.
It's the moment her story is just violently cut short. It leaves Scarlett and us in a state of suspended grief. An abruptly, brutally unfinished narrative, just like the book's title. A gaping wound that echoes down through the generations.
Okay, let's jump back to the present now. How do these past stories, these unfinished legacies, echo in Georgia's life? We need to go a bit deeper into her wounds from Damien Ellsworth. It wasn't just cheating, was it? It sounds like systematic emotional abuse.
Oh, absolutely. It was sustained. Damien didn't just betray her. He deliberately dulled her sparkle, made her feel like she wasn't enough to keep him satisfied.
God, that's awful.
The book describes him constantly criticizing her, belittling her. He even used that Ice Queen nickname against her, comparing her to the unlikable first wife in his own movie.
Wow. That's incredibly cruel and self-serving.
Exactly. That history of manipulation, of psychological abuse, explains so much about her trust issues, her guardedness, why she believed she was fundamentally flawed, not enough. It's why she tells Noah that thing about either let yourself die or learn to breathe the goddamn water, and if you survive, they call you a monster. She went through an emotional drowning.
But thankfully, she finds this powerful way back to herself through her art. We learned about her glass sculpture, Crown of Icicles, that she's working on now, and this amazing vertical glass piece she made 6 years ago, right when she got divorced. She has this incredible talent she has, a talent Damien actually asked her to put on pause for his career.
Chilling detail, isn't it?
Totally. So how does getting back to sculpting signify her reclaiming herself?
It's huge. It's not just a hobby. It's like the spiritual reclaiming of her identity. Damien tried to extinguish her creative fire, made her sacrifice her art for his ambition.
Yeah.
Going back to it, especially making pieces like the Crown of Icicles, that image of beauty coming from coldness. It's her relighting that flame. It's her saying, you don't define me anymore. I won't let you dim my light. Art is her path back to herself, a visible expression of her healing, turning pain into something beautiful and strong. She's literally bending glass to her will, like she's bending her life back to her own control. It's her declaring, I am Georgia, the artist. I am whole.
And Noah,
Yeah.
surprisingly, maybe, plays a really key role in her healing. We see him patiently trying to get through her walls. He shares his own grief, doesn't he? Losing his dad, his sister Adrian's accident.
Right, he makes himself vulnerable too.
And he really takes Adrian's advice to heart. This isn't about you, it's about her great-grandmother. How does he use that empathy, plus this kind of clever strategy, to challenge Georgia? Not just intellectually, but challenge her will to live, to fight.
He shows up consistently, and he listens, like really listens. He doesn't push too hard, but he doesn't give up either. That climbing gym scene is brilliant.
Yeah, such a good metaphor.
Exactly. Climbing walls, trusting someone, pushing past your limits. He coaches her, pushes her, not just physically, but to want, to live, to fight, to prove my point. He sees her hesitation to climb, mirrors her hesitation to re-engage with life, with love, after Damien.
Oh, okay.
It's his empathy, sharing his own stuff. Plus that gentle but firm push, that's what starts to melt the Ice Queen facade. He builds trust by being vulnerable himself.
And as Noah starts working there, in Grand's office, researching the manuscript, that connection between them really deepens, doesn't it? Moves past just tension.
Definitely.
We get these little moments, but they feel huge. Like Georgia wiping chocolate off his face, just instinctive, unguarded.
Yeah, such an intimate little gesture. Breaks down the barriers, shows this comfort, this tenderness that wasn't there before. It's just human.
And then that incredibly charged scene where he asks, "Do you want me to kiss you, Georgia?" How do moments like that signal the shift from professional tension to real undeniable attraction?
Oh, that kiss question. The tension is just palpable. It's openly acknowledging the chemistry that's been simmering since day one.
Right.
And Noah, being so direct, demands clarity. No games. It shows he's committed to being honest, even as he's falling for her. It's a massive shift from sparring with words to this physical desire, fueled by the emotional connection they've slowly built, minds clashing, turning into hearts connecting.
But just when Georgia starts to let her guard down, just when things seem hopeful, boom. The ultimate betrayal. Her trust is shattered all over again.
Yeah, her mother, Ava.
Ava makes her final, desperate move. She scans Grand's manuscript, not to publish it properly, but to sell the movie rights straight to Damien Ellsworth.
Ugh. Damien.
Of all people. What does that betrayal do to Georgia? It forces her to finally face her mother's real motives, doesn't it?
It's just horrifying for Georgia, the culmination of Ava's lifelong selfishness. Georgia has to confront it when Ava explodes, screaming, "I don't give a shit what Gran wanted. She sure as hell never gave me a second thought." And revealing Gran cut her out to stop her marrying hopelessly in-debt gamblers.
Wow. Just wow.
Ava's willing to exploit Gran's legacy, exploit Georgia's pain, all for money. It confirms Georgia's worst fears about her mother. It's always about you. And it triggers all those trust issues from Damien, reinforcing her fear of manipulation, of betrayal. It's a breaking point.
And then, pouring salt in the wound, Noah's lie comes out. He admits he lied about the contract date.
Yeah, his rationale is questionable. He says it was to give us the time we needed to fall in love.
How does Georgia react to that? Her words are just gut-wrenching. You don't lie and manipulate someone into loving you, Noah. That's not how love works.
Yeah.
How does this tap right back into her trauma with Damien?
Oh, it's agony for her. Because it's exactly what Damien did: manipulate, gaslight, make her feel crazy. Noah's lie, even if he meant well, which is debatable,
Right.
it hits all her old wounds. She tells him straight up, her voice shaking with that past pain. "I'd made the mistake of holding on to Damien after that first lie, and he sucked 8 years of my life away. Never again."
Yeah.
For her, trust is everything. Any lie, any manipulation, no matter the reason, is a fundamental breach. It feels like the same pattern she fought so hard to escape. It's this primal scream against that past.
But Noah, he doesn't just walk away, does he? Even after that huge fight, he leaves her with those two different endings for Scarlett's story, his happy one, her poignant one. And he challenges her, basically telling her to choose for her own life, too.
His parting words are incredible. So raw.
Some things you have to fight for, Georgia. You can't just walk away and leave it unfinished when it gets too complicated. If I could fly off and fight the Nazis to win your love, I would. But all I've got to battle with are your demons, and they're kicking my ass.
Yeah.
And then comparing their story to Scarlett and Jameson's, the epic, rare love story in this room isn't Scarlett and Jameson. It's you and me. Wow.
It's not just him saying he loves her, it's him declaring war for her. Against her demons, her instinct to run. He sees her pain, the scars, but he refuses to let her ditch their potential just because it's hard.
Yeah.
He gives her this huge choice for the book, yes, but really for her own life, their relationship. By calling their story the epic one, he's forcing her to look past the hurt, consider a different ending for herself, an ending that takes courage.
It's a massive turning point.
Yeah.
Forcing her to engage, not just with the manuscript, but with her own heart. He's basically saying, I see you're scared, but I believe in us enough to fight, even if you don't yet.
Exactly.
And this leads, incredibly, to the biggest shock of all. Gran's real identity. A truth that just flips everything upside down.
Yeah.
Even after Georgia pushes him away, Noah keeps digging.
His dedication is amazing.
He stays focused on the manuscript, on the history, finds those official documents, 3 death certificates, 1 marriage license. That perseverance is key, isn't it?
Absolutely. His obsession, fueled by love for Georgia and the mystery of the book, pushes him to find the inconsistencies. He's a truth seeker, part academic rigor, part personal stake. He doesn't stop, despite the emotional cost. That's what cracks the whole case open.
And ironically, it's Damien who gives him the final clues. Just casual remarks about Scarlett knowing Brian for years.
Right. Damien being self-absorbed actually helps.
And that chilling line, sometimes the only way to keep what you need is to let go of what you want, that clicks everything into place for Noah, confirms his suspicions from the documents.
It's perfect irony. Damien, focused on his movie, accidentally solves the puzzle. His comments, plus that self-serving quote. It makes Noah realize why Scarlett supposedly waited 40 years to remarry after Jameson went missing. She wasn't waiting for Brian. She was waiting for Henry Wadsworth, the abusive fiancé, to die, preserving the public story.
Ah, okay, that connects the dots.
Yeah, Noah realizes the story everyone believed about Scarlett was incomplete, maybe deliberately crafted.
And then Georgia finds out. Through Gran's final letter, the revelation hits her hard. Gran wasn't Scarlett. She was Constance.
Total earthquake moment for Georgia. Complete narrative collapse.
It just reframes everything, doesn't it? Her whole understanding of her family, of love, of the story she thought she knew.
Everything. The woman she idolized, the author whose life felt like legend, was living this profound lie for decades. It doesn't just change the past, it changes her understanding of love, sacrifice, identity, truth itself, forces her to question everything. But weirdly, shattering that illusion opens the door to a deeper, more healing truth.
In Constance's letter, it's just heartbreakingly beautiful, full of hidden emotion and wisdom. It reveals her own story. Unrequited love for Edward, then finding that steady, warm, and gentle love with Brian, so different from Scarlett and Jameson's lightning strike. And crucially, how she protected William, Scarlett's son, by becoming Scarlett. She admits living 78 years as Scarlett, and then gives Georgia that incredible advice.
Oh, that quote is everything.
I'd never seen another love like I had for Brian, deep and calm and true. You are the culmination of every lightning strike and twist of fate. Do not settle for the love that hones your edges and turns you brittle and cold, Georgia. Not when there are so many other kinds of love waiting for you. And don't wait like I did. Life is too short to miss the lightning strike and too long to live it alone. That's got to be the core message of the whole book, right?
Yeah.
About love, identity.
Absolutely. It is the beating heart. Constance's story is one of immense, quiet sacrifice, resilience, deep love. She lived that lie not from malice, but to protect a child. And in doing so, found her own true happiness with Brian, different, but just as valid, just as real.
Yeah.
Her advice to Georgia is this urgent plea: break the cycle. Break free from Damien's abuse, from generational patterns. Embrace vulnerability. Choose love actively. Don't waste time being bitter or alone. It reframes everything. Offers Georgia and us this enlightened view of her own future and all the different ways love can look.
And then, in this twist that feels so right, Noah's happy ending for Scarlett and Jameson, the one he wrote, the one Georgia initially rejected, this one that gets published.
Yeah, feels fated somehow.
Georgia realizes she chose it not just for Nora or for Gran's legacy, but because Constance earned it, already lived it. She gave Scarlett and Jameson the story they deserved, setting them free. What does that mean for Georgia's own healing?
It's the moment of her true completion, her acceptance of this complex truth. She sees that Constance's life was the happy ending, a life of devotion, sacrifice, quiet love. By letting Noah write that reunion for Scarlett and Jameson, she's not denying Constance's reality. She's honoring the ideal of love that Constance preserved.
Oh, okay.
It's an act of deep empathy, forgiveness, understanding for Constance and for herself. She gives fictional closure to the past and finds her own closure, her own freedom in the present. It's this beautiful act of narrative restoration, showing the power of choosing your own story.
And that final detail for us, the readers, the gold ring. Engraved J with Love S, found in Jameson's wreckage after all that research, confirming his fate.
Gut-wrenching finality, isn't it? Confirms his loss, his sacrifice. Such a small thing, that ring, but it speaks volumes about their love, the permanence of it, even across death and absence. It solidifies the tragedy Constance carried and wrote about for so long, gives the reader that poignant closure.
So after all that, the revelations, the emotional battles, identity shattering and rebuilding, how does Georgia finally reclaim her future? We see it at her art studio opening, right? Her crown of icicles, sculpture gleaming.
Yes. Such a triumphant, full-circle moment. Her art opening, that specific sculpture, started in despair. Finished in beauty and strength, it embodies her whole transformation. She's overcome Damien's abuse, the guy who told her to put her art on pause. She's not Mrs. Ellsworth anymore. She's Georgia Stanton, the artist. The woman who learned to breathe the water and reshape the broken pieces into something stunning. She's taking public control of her life, her identity. It's her declaration of self, of liberation, of rebirth.
Noah, always Noah, has one last perfect gesture. That gift. The phonograph.
Oh, the phonograph. So meaningful.
Explain its significance. Again, Jameson's record player, hidden in the wall. How it ties everything together, represents enduring love. The possibility of That lightning strike for Georgia and him, too.
It's just the perfect symbol, weaving the timelines, the emotions together. That phonograph, hidden by Constance for decades. It's a direct link back to Jameson, to that incredible first date, their lightning strike.
Right.
Finding it, restoring it. It says some loves, some stories are too powerful to be lost. They endure. When Noah plays Billie Holiday's The Very Thought of You on it. He's invoking Scarlett and Jameson's epic love, yes, but he's also hinting at that same magic, that possibility for him and Georgia. It's a symbol of hope, connection across time, and love conquering obstacles, even past hurts.
And right there, surrounded by her art, that music playing, love finally wins. Noah just lays it all out. I am completely, wholeheartedly, madly in love with you, Georgia Constance Stanley. I wanted you from the first second I saw you in that bookstore and knew you were the one the minute you opened your mouth to tell me you hated my books.
Ah, love that line.
Me too.
Yeah.
And he respects her enough to say he only wants her to say, I love you, when she's truly ready, when it's fully hers.
That's his unwavering commitment. He sees her past, their messy start, but he's all in. And waiting for her, respecting her timeline, telling her the words have to be hers, that's what finally breaks down her last walls.
Yeah.
He's offering secure, trusting love, the opposite of Damien. He's showing her, I'm staying, I'm your anchor.
And Georgia's acceptance. It's just beautiful. Her realization, I loved him, my heart was his, he'd won me over so completely that I couldn't imagine a single day without him. And then Noah kisses her quiet, carries her upstairs.
It's Georgia choosing her own happy ending. Not fate, not trauma, but courage and vulnerability. She lets herself love again, completely, because Noah showed her what real love looks like. Honesty, patience, respect.
Yeah.
That kiss silencing her, I love you, it's symbolic. He knows. Their union afterwards is that complete fusion, physical and emotional. Her total acceptance, total trust. The final triumph over her past. From Ice Queen to just Georgia, capable of real love.
And then the book gives us the actual true ending, the final piece connecting everything. Jameson did come back to Scarlett in 1944.
Ah, that scene at the gazebo. Tears.
Their reunion. The gazebo, no longer a symbol of loss, but of enduring love, the life they built with William. And his words, I missed you every single day. Everything I did was to get home to you.
It's the ultimate restoration. The happy ending, Noah wrote. The one Constance secretly held on to and lived out. The gazebo, which Georgia saw as a mausoleum, becomes this vibrant symbol of hope reunion.
Yeah.
It ties it all together, shows that some loves do conquer all, even if completion comes later, or through narrative, through hope. It gives us and the characters that deep catharsis, that closure we craved. Love finds its way home.
So reflecting on this incredible book, The Things We Leave Unfinished, what's the big message about love? We see so many kinds. Scarlett and Jameson's lightning strike, Constance and Brian's steady, warm, and gentle love, Georgia and Noah's resilient, hard-won love.
The book shows love isn't just one thing, right? It's this whole spectrum. Each form is valid, powerful, beautiful. The lightning strike is passionate, consuming. The steady love is about companionship, support, deep comfort. Georgia and Noah's love is built through conflict, healing, built on honesty, patience, fighting for each other. Each one is real, showing the richness, the complexity, the adaptability of human connection. It tells us not to limit how we define love.
And what about unfinished? What's the ultimate insight there? It's more than just lack of closure, isn't it? Maybe unfinished doesn't mean broken, but that sometimes a story needs a new perspective, a hidden truth, to find its real completion.
That's the most liberating idea, I think. A story isn't truly unfinished if it keeps echoing, teaching, inspiring. Constance living as Scarlett, continuing the story.
Yeah.
That was her act of completion, of love.
Right.
Georgia choosing Noah's ending wasn't denying the past. It was healing. Recognition for herself. It shows closure doesn't always look like we expect. It's not about forgetting. It's found through courage, empathy, self-acceptance, and actively rewriting our own stories.
Yeah. Our past doesn't have to dictate our future. We can finish our own story our way.
Exactly.
Well, today we took a really powerful emotional deep dive into The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros. We explored family secrets, wartime romance, modern resilience, self-discovery. We saw how inherited stories shape us and how real love demands courage, honesty, and fighting for your own happy ending.
And this story really does challenge us, doesn't it? Makes you think, what unfinished stories are you carrying? Maybe without even realizing it. What truths might be hidden in your own family history, your own journey? Truths that could change how you see your past, your future.
Yeah, are there assumptions you've made about your own ending, about the love or happiness you deserve? Maybe those are ready for a rewrite.
Think about the narratives you've inherited or created for yourself. How are they shaping you right now? What would it mean to challenge those stories, to enhance your life? Write a new chapter.
Rebecca Yarros really gives us a gift with this novel. Encourages us to look at our lives differently, fight for happiness, realize that sometimes the best love stories are the ones we finally complete for ourselves. We definitely
Yeah.
invite you to keep exploring these ideas. Maybe let this book inspire your own journey.
And we absolutely recommend you grab a copy of The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros if you haven't read it yet, or maybe reread it with some of this discussion in mind.
Good idea.
You can also check out more of her work and connect with her on social media. Check Entangled Publishing's website for links. Engaging with stories like this, well, it supports authors, but it also just enriches your own life, your understanding of everything.
So true. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive with the Plain Books podcast. If you found this exploration as fascinating, as thought-provoking as we did,
Hope you did.
please think about following, subscribing, and maybe sharing the Plain Books podcast with other people who love digging into stories and insights.
Yep, spread the word.
Until next time, keep diving deep into the stories that matter to you and dare to write your own best ending.